Western Australia has cemented itself as the nation's economic engine room, but global uncertainty and conflicts are threatening the state's enviable financial position. Today's budget confirms a $2.4 billion surplus for the next financial year, fuelled by $7.8 billion of GST cash and a strong iron ore price. But removal of the state electricity credit means a jump in power bills that had been artificially lowered by hundreds of dollars for years. And the government has warned of enormous challenges ahead: economic vulnerability with our major trading partner China, as well as instability in the Middle East. For more, we're joined by state political reporter Kian Burke at Parliament House. Kian, does this budget represent a shift in the government's focus?
It does, Pamela, because every budget is about choices, and in this one, the Premier and Treasurer have made some big ones. The focus on widespread and immediate cost of living relief is gone, with those power bill credits now a thing of the past. Instead, the government is firmly focused on the future, banking a $2.5 billion surplus from the last financial year and trying to secure WA's prosperity against a falling iron ore price and that global uncertainty. Kason Ho begins our coverage.
In an era of global instability, international conflicts and trade tensions, preparing for an uncertain future is a key theme of this year's budget.
A major consideration was how we, as a highly trade-exposed economy, prepare for the future and the headwinds we may encounter.
There you go. The state government's self-described non-sexy budget still boasts huge headlines. Smiles fueled by the state's still booming resources industry and GST revenues from the rest of the country. But preparing for what's coming comes at a price. WA's net debt is sitting at $33.6 billion, a big figure, but still the lowest comparatively in the nation. It's forecast to grow to $39 billion next year. As part of the state's efforts to wean off iron ore, the WA government is throwing cash at diversifying the economy.
This budget is about fortifying Western Australia from these global shocks. It's about investing in economic infrastructure that will set our state up for the future, and ensure that we put WA jobs front and centre for future generations.
Central to the government's Made in WA strategy, $13 billion will go towards water and power infrastructure, including bolstering the electricity network to support the transition to net zero by 2050. More than $500 million will go towards building up strategic industrial areas throughout the state. Industry backing the investment.
Just like Taylor Swift, the government's entered a new era. It's moving from the roads era to the industrial era. Significant funding in ports, water, energy, so critical to the future of the WA economy.
This budget features significant spending on projects for the future, including $3.2 billion over the next 4 years on health and mental health infrastructure, and $1.4 billion over the next year to help build the state out of its housing crisis. What's not clear is whether it'll be enough to ease the sting of scrapping the state's household electricity credit in this cost of living crunch. Kason Ho, ABC News.
The first test for this budget will be just how much of an impact that changed approach to cost of living relief is really felt by West Australians. The budget papers include nearly $1 billion of relief all up and show the average family will be $50 a year better off. But as Brianna Shepherd explains, not everyone doing it tough will benefit from the government's plans.
Zoe Clark works from home when she can.
Come on, to the park.
The 30-year-old lives in Ellenbrook with her husband and her brother. All three have full-time jobs and contribute towards rent.
I know I'm not in the worst case scenario itself, but we are struggling to live. We are struggling to pay rent.
Zoe says she feels like she just can't get ahead.
Because of the cost of living, we simply cannot afford to have kids.
The government's cost of living relief measures, however, are largely focused on families.
Eligible Western Australians will also have access to kids' sport vouchers of $300. We're expanding the school breakfast program to more than 670 schools.
One of the cost of living support Zoe had been relying on, state government power credits, are now gone, replaced with a scheme to help homeowners buy batteries.
I don't like the idea of the battery rebate, especially on rentals, because I can't get it. We want to be able to enter the housing market. We want to get out of this rent trap.
And while the government won't cap rents, it's banking on more housing supply to ease prices, which are going up across the board. Power and water bills for the average household are tipped to rise by about $95 or 2.5%. But if you factor in Labor's election commitment to cap fees to one zone for public transport, the government says you come out on average $52 better off.
No support for our most vulnerable. And the question has to be asked, what is the point of this continued prosperity if we can't look after everyday people?
It's an extremely serious situation, as was seen in our cost of living report, where people can't make ends meet. Their income isn't meeting their expenditure.
What if something happens? We can't save for that rainy day because we're living that paycheck to paycheck, that week to week.
A budget future-focused, but not everyone's looking that far ahead. Brianna Shepherd, ABC News.
And a short time ago, I spoke to the Treasurer about how the government is handling those cost of living pressures. Treasurer Rita Saffioti, thank you for your time on a very busy day.
Thank you.
What do you say to West Australians who don't feel like they're enjoying the benefits of the WA economy in the same way the state government is?
Well, in relation to cost of living, we continue to roll out cost of living initiatives such as the student assistance payment. We continue to support households with, for example, the new battery subsidy scheme. But we're working really hard to ensure we continue to grow jobs.
A lot of the cost of living relief in this budget is very targeted, but that means if people are renting, if they don't have kids, if they don't catch public transport, there's not a lot in there for them.
Well, again, this is about making sure we deliver that cost of living to households. Families with kids are under pressure, but of course there's wider cost of living initiatives. But look, this is all about making sure we continue to grow jobs and grow the economy. Our big focus is to make sure we protect Western Australia from the economic turmoil and make sure Western Australians can feel secure in the fact that the economy is going to grow and that they've got jobs in the future.
And so that's become the priority because you feel that those cost of living pressures have eased on the whole?
More that there's global economic turmoil. We've seen what's even happening today. And we need to make sure we protect Western Australia and help Western Australia grow into the future.
How do you measure what a good job is?
Oh, a good job is a well-paying job, and it's also job certainty. So we want to make sure people have jobs with very good certainty, but also well-paying jobs. We've seen our average weekly earnings in Western Australia higher than the other states. So we need to keep growing the economy so people have certainty, have the confidence to spend and the confidence to invest.
Is there a benchmark that you want to hit there of wages growth?
Oh, well, we've had very strong wages growth, but it's really about the job creation and we need to continue that momentum. As I said, we've had incredible employment growth, but we know we need to keep working hard to keep those jobs being created.
Treasurer Rita Saffioti, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
This budget marks the real beginning of Roger Cook's vision for a diversified state which moves away from a boom and bust cycle. It comes at a pretty big cost though, but with 4 years until the next election and plenty of money in the bank, this is a pretty ideal time for a government to take a gamble. By the next election, voters will know whether that gamble's been worth the risk or whether it's left some West Australians behind.